everybody? So this is 1,000 Brains. This is another neuroscience book, which I enjoy reading, so I can't say nothing bad about them. I really do enjoy these type of books, and I think I should just start off by saying that when I make these videos or when I read my books, that I don't make videos on all of them, and I'm contemplating on whether or not I should, or if I should just limit myself to making one video a day on the book that pretty much I enjoy the most. But or because I should say, I've finished reading 5 books since the past video on the book that was the race differences in intelligence, or intelligence differences in races. I forgot the title, but I was thinking, like, should I make more videos, or should I just limit myself to just a little bit? And I think I'll try and make some more videos. I think that's what I'll try and do instead of having just one a day. Cause I read so much good material. Like, okay, why not just share it all? But we can go and start into this book, and of course we're gonna answer the 4 main questions from How to Read a Book. And number 1 is, what is the book about? And I feel like this book is basically try to show how our brain processes things on a neural level. I think all neuroscience books do that, but also there were some theories in this. So how our brain processes just information in theory. And it's funny because I just said that and I didn't even look at the title, but when I look at the title right here, A New Theory of Intelligence, yeah, man, it's like the main point of the book is always in the title. Man, I guess they do a good job with the marketing, because they really talk about what the book's about. But now we could talk about the parts in this book, and the basically what he was trying to say in this book is that we have 2 parts of our brain, which is the old brain and the new brain. And the old brain is our primal brain. So basically our four main emotions, if we can call them that. And I talked about this in the book I made, or not the book I made, the book I read, called The Brain and the Inner World. And the 4 main emotions are anger, fear, no, not reward. It's like seeking. So like when people seek rewards and they want the rush. And there's the 4th one that I can't remember. Play. That's what it is. Play. Oh no, but there's 4 main emotions that humans feel, and basically that's all primal. And the what he was saying and knew this, or well, he didn't make this theory, but this is another theory about how our new brain is basically just built on top of our old brain. So everything that evolved is basically just added on. So think of like a tissue paper, or a paintball, or not necessarily a paintball, but a ball of paint. If you know what I'm thinking about, then you know. And you keep adding the paint, you keep adding the paint, you keep adding the paint until the ball just grows bigger. That's basically what our brain is, and that's basically what happened. Except that instead of it growing like bigger and thicker, it just grew just better. So it could do a lot more things with. Well, yes, our brain is bigger than everybody's else's basically, but it's not necessarily humongous. It's still compact, and it just does a lot. So that was a theory that I think is true, and simply because we still have our primal instincts, like he said, and also because of like just how we evolved, because we evolved with language and reading and writing, which happened around 5,000 years ago. So I don't think that like we just created a new brain, but instead you just add more to it. I think that's pretty much It sounds like a great theory, basically. So then the next part, what he was talking about is how we, kind of how we process the things, and the things that he showed was a cortical column, which is this has to do with sight and also has to do with touch, and well, basically has to do with every brain modality. So with the sight and touch, basically saying that, and he used the what and where concepts, which are related to consciousness and what we sensate and what we perceive. So so honestly, that was kind of like a review part for me. But basically, it's that when we look at something, we look at what it is and we look at what is it doing to us. So, for instance, like say if I this is this is the one that I've seen actually or read. So you stab your hand, and you don't have to stab it, but if I'm pretty sure they used a pen. So you stab it and you look at, okay, what is doing this to me, and how. So you see the no, I mean sorry, not but where. So the what and where pathways. So that basically is related to our consciousness and our intelligence, and that's pretty much what. And while most conscious things have it, because if you have the ability to sensate and perceive, then you're conscious by definition. But the other animals, I can't say, yeah, we can say other animals, since we're animals ourselves. They just don't have the ability of language, so they can't speak about it. And that's what's great about humans is we have the ability to talk, and we can talk to ourselves, because other animals, they can't talk to themselves. They can only feel. So that's great. It's great being a human. It's great being a Homo sapien. So there's one part of the book that I really enjoyed reading, and that was the close to the end, when he talked about how there's a lot of false beliefs in the world, and how a false belief is it's pretty much fake. And that's probably that's he said that was the problem with humans, is that we like believing false things. And even though, because the things that make up things that make a belief false are, one, we haven't perceived it yet. So the example that he gave was that vaccinations cause autism. And I don't know about this stuff. I'm not a doctor or anything, but people say that, even though has your daughter or son gotten autism from getting a vaccination? And the answer with that is probably no. And the second thing that makes a belief false is that the people, they go against contrary information. So you know I'm pretty sure a lot of people are vaccinated when they're babies, but not everybody has autism. So we can't say that vaccinations cause autism, basically, from that alone. And the third thing about false beliefs is that they're spread easily. So people could say vaccinations cause autism, and they tell everybody, "Oh, don't get vaccinations. You get autism." when and from the books that I've read, autism is basically just a brain disorder from the brain not going correctly either when you're in the womb as a fetus, or probably just when you get into the world and you just don't have those interactions. Like, I know basically people with autism, they're bad socially, and we can't say that they're necessarily bad, because, like, again, it's a problem with the brain. Like, they're not the reason. It's just their brain. It's just their brain, which I guess you could say correlates, since we're all individuals. If you understand that individuals, we're unable to be separated from our mind and body. So it might be their fault, but they don't know about it. So it's not necessarily their fault, in my opinion. Of course, it's just my opinion with all this. So that was a cool thing. And my theory, or the I can't say it's a theory, but the thing that I thought about is, like, pretty much everyone is or has false beliefs about the things that they believe are true, but in reality it's not true. Like, For instance, this is a great one I just thought of. Racism. And I can't say racism true. And people who say it's true, they might have, you know, experienced it. But since I haven't experienced it, I can't say that it's true. Like I haven't experienced it, and I just don't see racism. Like just cause what's that dude, George Floyd? Yeah, like just cause one dude died and got shot by a policeman, and oh, he was black. That doesn't mean that racism exists. But who knows? Who knows? And also, there was some brain studies. Now that I remember, that showed that white people, whenever they see black people, their amygdala is activated more than their other brain regions, which of course is the region of both anger and fear. So who knows? White people, they might be genetically destined to be racist, even if because those people, they weren't conscious about it. They didn't know that. Oh, I'm scared of a black dude. But that's again, that's just a belief. Who knows if it's true? It might be true for someone else, but again, it's not true for me. And what Jeff Hawkins, the author, what he stated we could do to solve this intelligence problem is to modify our genes. And this is what Stephen Hawking was talking about. That it's just bound to happen. And I just read a Stephen Hawking book, another one of his, yesterday. Actually, no, this morning. But there's so much to say. So I know a little bit more about him, and he's a cool dude. He's a very intelligent man, very passionate too. But modifying our genes, that's something that I don't think it'll be relatively too hard. But the genes that we'll modify is our old genes, so our primate genes, and basically the parts of us that I can't say bad, but that like the parts of us that the tyrannical leaders use the most. So for example, there was a Roman emperor who I forgot his name, and he always bought jewelry, gold, and women too. So things like that. Those are things that we can fix with gene or biohacking. I don't know. I don't know the exact term, but modifying our genes, we could fix it. And honestly, I don't believe in it. I don't think that we should. I think we should just let things play out. Let's ride the wave a little bit. so, so I don't think it's smart to modify our genes, honestly, just because we don't know what's gonna happen. Man, we don't know what's gonna happen. But hey, that's the great thing about the world. Is we don't know what's gonna happen. So anything can happen. The possibilities are endless for us. And that's what I find great, about perceiving the world as a high schooler right now. Is I just don't know. So number 3, is this book true? And with, of course, this being a theoretical work, it may be true in theory, but for practical reasons, no. But the author, he portrays himself in a way, and his style is not biased, and that's kind of like what I like about these type of books is they show a lot of studies, and they're not all biased, which like like the dude in Edward Gibbon when he in the the decline and fall of the Roman Empire. He kind of showed, or he portrayed the Christians in a bad light. And I'm pretty sure that was just his bias. And I didn't get to mention that part. Because in that video, I remember I had my mic off during that video. So unfortunately, you didn't get to hear me talk about all that stuff. But this guy, he portrayed it in a way that, he basically just laid out his facts and his findings with his research buddies. So we could say this is true. It wasn't all bias. and I like that. So now, number 4, what's the meaning of this? And the meaning of this book is basically that our life is, it's all just a simulation. And I say that to say this: everything that happens because of our brain. And that's why I love reading about it, cause I love having just a better brain, and I do what I can to have a better brain, simply so I can have just a better existence for the brevity of life and the time that I'll be here. So this was just man. It's weird. Every time I'm done with the book, I always look back and and just remember how good it is and how much I liked it. And it happens to most books. Maybe I just like all books, but man, I like this book. It made me think. It made me. It brought pleasure to me. And I read a book on that too. The part of this book that brought pleasure to me was pretty much the end. At the end, I always feel like I learned something, that I did something worthwhile. So I really thank these authors for that. They bring me new ways to pretty much level up myself and to get better in ways that I don't think a lot of people are doing. So it's pretty helpful, especially in my everyday life. So thank you, authors. This was 1,000 Brains.